Hey guys, welcome back to the Blue Collar Future Podcast. I'm here with Luke Kosmanis. He is an Aussie, and I butchered the accent on that name, but hey, that's fine. So, Luke, how's it going?
Yeah, it's going great, man. Thanks for having me. Looking forward to having a chat
Yeah,
today.
yeah. It's late afternoon here in the States, and 7 in the morning where you're at.
Nice
So,
and early. Nice and early. To
yeah,
be full transparency, bro, like I didn't check my calendar and I was not meant to be awake right now. So luckily I checked my Instagram this morning.
that's that's all right. I get you get busy, and people I have get busy. So I've had stuff like that happen too. So it's all right.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's
Well,
good to be here though, man.
yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Oh, so my name's Luke Kosmanis, if you want to pronounce it this way. Uh, I'm currently a tradie. I do bathroom, kitchen renovations. I started my own company in 2021. And then from there, I've done a lot of personal development work as well. So for me, I'm just trying to spread awareness and I'm creating a movement around called the Better Tradie Project. So I just want to help tradies wake up to a better life that's possible for them, creating more happiness, more peace, and really just waking up energized about the day. Because I know a lot of tradies are out there and they're grumpy and they're tired and they're sore. And like I get it, it's hard work being a tradie, but there is more. There's shitty environments on site. There's a lot of garbage that gets talked, which is all good, but it can be pretty nasty. So, and then also you've got the toxic cycle of drinking and getting on the bags on the weekend. I don't know what it's like in America, but in Australia, it's pretty prevalent where Friday to Sunday, everyone's just fucked. And then you come to Monday and you're grumpy because you're not doing the things that you love on the weekend. You're just getting fucked. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was something that I experienced personally, like I went down that path and I drank and I was pretty heavy on the drugs and I've come out on the other side now and I've experienced what real life is like. And I just want to share that message as well and help wake up as many tradies as I can to that reality.
Yeah. I it is such a problem, and it's a hard it's a hard industry, and it's a hard life to live. But adding all of the drugs and the alcohol and stuff doesn't help, even though people might think it does. But it's
Mm,
hard to get that through to some people because they are so invested in that type of thing, and all that's all they look forward to. So yeah, it's a cool thing to bring awareness to, I think.
mm. Yeah, I
especially
mean,
especially there.
yeah, I mean, like it's just become normalized, hasn't it? Like it's just normal to go on a Friday and get like Friday beers after work. That's normal.
Yeah.
It's not normal to like hang out with a mate and have a good chat or go to the gym or do something that's proactive. It's just like, yeah, I get it though. Like there's something about a fucking cold frosty beer after a long day work. Like I get it. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I enjoy that here and there. But it's just the fact that it's become a habit and one beer is never one beer. Like we all fucking know one beer is never one beer.
Yeah. It's always, so I don't drink, and I tell people they probably shouldn't drink, but I also don't care. But the thing I see problems with is, one, like you said, one is never just one. It always leads to
Mm.
more and more and more. And then it is completely unproductive, and it's not good for you. So I understand how it can be enjoyable, but it is way too easy to get taken control of, per se,
Mm.
by it.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it's it's something I see all over the place, and I think some people can handle a couple a week or something, but yeah, it always just turns into one on the weekend, and then a few, and then one every night, and then pounding them in the day too.
Mm.
You see it on job sites here too, which isn't really good, drinking during the
Mm.
day.
Yeah. I mean, look, like I think once you understand why you do it, if you get a deeper understanding of why you're drinking so much, then you're like, oh, fuck. Do you know what I mean? It's normally around an insecurity or like a
Yeah.
past trauma or, just not feeling confident within yourself. So once you get a really deep understanding of that, you start questioning it and you go, well, fuck, maybe this isn't as good enough for me. And I had to have like a big stint away from it where I was just like, nah, not touching the shit. And then now I can ease back into having one or two. I don't feel that need anymore. But man, fuck, It's so funny when you stand away now. Like, I don't know if you were ever once in that position. By the sounds of it, you weren't. But like, I was just so heavily involved with it. And then now I go back and I've still got love for those people. You know, there's nothing wrong with them. But I'll stand in that environment and they're fucked. And I'm like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
It's actually fucking gross. Like the word, like, no, there's, you know, you come up with these business ideas and you come up with these bullshit things and the next day they're forgotten about. And then, like you say, like there's no productivity at work, man. It's just, yeah, it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, it really is. And I I saw your Instagram is the conscious tradie. That's kind of the angle you have to come at it, like, because a lot of people, and this sounds bad, but a lot of people just aren't aware of it, you know. And like you said, looking back now, you're like, man, I would, that's crazy. It's gross, but you get so tied up and invested, and it's hard to climb out of there. So
yeah, it is.
So, what how did you come up with that, and how did you realize that you had kind of a problem that you wanted to get away from?
Everyone has a story. Yeah. Like everyone has a rock bottom story, or I was here, or whatever. I was homeless, or whatever it was. For me, pretty much consecutively for 5 to 7 years, I was every weekend just partying, popping pills, doing coke, doing everything, drinking, whatever it might have been. And I had an addictive personality. So whatever I chose to do, I would do something, like I'd go at it. Right. So I was like, I would work 6 days. I still work 6 days a week, but like I was working 6 days a week. Always the extra day was to like fuel the weekend. So I would just be like, I wasn't really training, but like I'd get the occasional training session in. So always doing something, right? Always active. And then the drinking. So like run down. I was always run down. My serotonin levels were just gone. I was always getting sick. Like nothing was just like working. My relationships were shit. Everything was just crap. And it got to a point where I would have been 24, I'm pretty sure I was. I was tiling this bathroom. And this like, it was the worst tiles. They were these like pattern tiles, and nothing was going right that day. And it was on a Wednesday. And I just remember it got to the point where like I just threw a fucking tile. And I got so emotionally angry that I just like sat down on I just sat my ass on the floor and just started boiling my eyes out, because I was like, this is fucked. This is like rock bottom. I hate what I do. I'm not happy with myself. I'm not happy where I'm going. Nothing to me is making sense anymore. And in that moment, there was 3 words that came up to me. It's like, you're meant for more. You're meant for so much fucking more in this life. And that was, for me, that was the turning point, right? It was just like, I went home. I just like couldn't do it anymore that day. Went home, slowly dragged my feet. And then it wasn't like like that moment was like I changed. It wasn't like that. It was like, this is the change now. So I decided to change in that moment. And then obviously things take time to catch up. So I started stepping away from the booze and the drugs. It wasn't instant. It wasn't like I just stopped cold turkey. It was like, oh, okay, like every second weekend, once a month, once every 3 months. And then it just slowly fizzled out to once in a blue moon. And then along that journey is like, once I had that moment, I was like, I'm going to start doing shit. And that's when I started going down the personal development route, started hiring coaches. I started looking elsewhere for new careers, and I wanted to be a PT and a nutritionist for like a year and a half. And I got my nutrition certification because I was like, I like being physical. I like being active. I like being with people. So I was looking at all these alternative routes. And then, yeah, like when you start down this personal development route, which I'm sure you've experienced yourself, you start to see things in a completely different way, and you start to see the world for what it really is. You start to become conscious. And the name, the Conscious Tradie, it was funny. I was just talking to this chick one day, and like, it was just like a new conversation. And she goes, "You're a conscious tradie." And I was like, I fucking like that. I really like that. And yeah, like, I mean, at that time when she said it, I wasn't really considering staying in the industry. I was sort of like looking at getting out. So I didn't really utilize that. But then as times progress, I'm like, no, I'm going to utilize this. I'm going to start working with tradies. So that's where I got the name.
Yeah. And so that's when you kind of started your movement, the conscious tradie, and started helping people and kind of in the same situation.
Yeah, in that situation, like I mean, I ran I've worked one-on-one with a couple of clients, and I've ran events. I ran an event earlier this year, which wasn't based at tradies. So for me, it was like helping men discover purpose, which is still exactly what I do, but it's just helping tradies like get clear on what they want. So a lot of tradies would be like, you know, they either hate their job, they either just don't know what to fucking do next, or they're just unsure about anything in life. So for me, I help them gain an insane amount of clarity in what they want to do in their life moving forward, right? Get them clear on the legacy that they want to leave, have a clear vision and mission for the future. So if you come through my doors, it's like, cool, I can help you build a really successful trade business if that's what you want. But also, if it's not what you want, we'll get you super clear on what you do want to fucking do, and then like the actionable steps taking forward. Because not everyone wants to be a tradie. I hope that people want to stay being a tradie because it's a big industry, and we need better tradies in the industry. So yeah, man, that's what I do.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the same in Australia, but hey, there's almost like an idea, unspoken idea here, that if you go work in construction or a trade or whatever, that you're not as good as people that are going to school. And it's not, it's definitely not something that people are outright saying, but it's like this idea that's being propagated. It's like, you need to go to school, you need to go to school, you go to university, college, like, and if you're not smart enough, quote unquote, to go to college, it's like, oh, you should just go to construction or whatever. And
Mm.
and it's like this, it's enough prevalent enough that I almost feel like some people think that it's shameful to go into it unless they have some sort of family or some sort of, experience beforehand. It's not something that a lot of people are going to through school and are like, oh, I'm going to go in construction, and
Mm.
and not nearly as many as we need, because it's a huge industry, and there's a lot of job openings that are great,
Mm. Mm. It's I don't think it is like that here, hey, because I mean it might be. I guess the people that you surround yourself is the people that you surround yourself with. So sometimes you feel like you're in your own fucking bubble and you don't know what's going on outside the world. I don't watch news. I don't associate with like shit talking. So for me, it's
Yeah.
just like I'm in my own bubble. But in my eyes, like tradies earn the most. They have the highest salary in Australia
Yep.
here. So it's like I don't know. It's like if you want to look at it like that, who's the fucking dumb one? Like
I
you guys,
exactly. Well,
yeah.
and I think it's more the fact that so many people are pushing further education after high school and stuff, like colleges and whatnot, and it's like, if you don't go, you're not as good as other people, and
Mm,
only because of that, I think,
mm,
what I've noticed before.
mm. I mean, like the schooling industry is always a big push, right?
Yeah.
It's like, but yeah, that's like it's an interesting topic. I don't think we'll go into it like today, but yeah, it's just like creating fucking robots that sit in a room and work in an office, that work
Yeah.
for someone, they do their
Yeah.
fucking routine. Whereas like that's the beauty of being in a trade, right? Things are different every day. You're
Yeah.
outdoors, you're like, you're socializing on, with other people in the trade, and you're always somewhere different. Whereas, yeah, I don't know, sitting in the same little fucking cubicle your entire life, it's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah. No, well, that's one of the big reasons I think they're such good jobs. And I don't think necessarily we have a shortage of good people, but I do think that there's a lot of people that just aren't interested. And maybe it's just a culture surrounding it. Like, me personally, I did go to college and I was studying engineering. Um, but I grew up in a construction family, so that's what I always did. And just kind of was like, man, this college thing is lame. It's dumb, and I don't
Mm,
want to go sit at a desk all day. And
mm,
and that's just kind of how I ended up going. And I've always thought that they're good jobs, and most people I know in them make really good money, but it's like an unspoken thing. Like everybody's always like, oh yeah, I'm going to college, I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be this, I'm gonna be that, I'm gonna get this degree. And then you say you're in construction, people are like, oh, there's almost not as much excitement around it. And I almost think that's what's contributing to people not knowing what they want to do and not being happy in them, because they're not finding that purpose in their job and not enjoying it, and drinking themselves to death. I mean, as I see it a lot, it's crazy.
Yeah, like it just makes me think about, like, in Australia, I don't think it's like anywhere near as bad as that. It's almost like there's an opposite to that. Like, yes, we're struggling to find good trades at the moment. It's definitely, I think it's a worldwide problem. I only figured out like a couple of weeks ago, that construction is the second biggest industry in the world. The second fucking biggest. And that's like, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But like, if you look at, like, when you hear people talk about it like that, if I was like, you can acquire knowledge. I don't believe you need to go through a schooling system. Like, you don't actually need to get a degree in anything. Maybe being a doctor or like a lawyer. Like, they're probably like the two things that you need a degree in, because like you're working with like lives. So it's like, cool. But everything else you can just like learn on the fucking internet, and then you can create your own business now. So it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Crazy. It's just the whole school system push, and it's crazy to watch, because it's not, I don't see it as productive. Just like the drinking thing. Like, a lot of people just don't need the school and don't need the debt. And there's so many jobs you can go learn. You can get paid to learn on the job.
Yeah. Yeah. Legit.
So how did you get your start in bathroom remodeling? Were you working for somebody? Was it when you started your business, or what?
Yeah. So I started when I was 15, started in the industry. So I started pretty young. When I first jumped into it, my dad was a tiler at the time. So I learned how to tile, learned a lot about tiling, learned how shit it is, but also you need to be really good at it. And then as he progressed, I was lucky enough to progress and learn everything along the way. So, he got his limited builder's license, and then he started remodeling bathrooms. I learned everything. So we learned carpentry, plastering, waterproofing, everything in between. Like, we legitimately everything but electrical and plumbing we'll do, which is really great, because it just gives you a diverse amount of work to do, and it switches things up, right? So I thoroughly enjoyed that. I was running my own jobs for him and helping him here and there with the business. So I had like a pretty good understanding, and been doing it for fucking like 10 years at this point. So I was like, this is when I was sort of looking at stepping out to do the nutrition and the PT coaching. And he's like, he was always super supportive of what I did, but he goes, why don't you just start your own business? And I was like, oh yeah. Money was going to be way better. Even though I didn't think it was going to be my passion, I got drawn into the money. And so I started my business, and then the business did incredibly well. And that's when I started getting into kitchens as well. And then, that's just how the business started. And here we are now.
Yeah. Well, I don't think very many people actually find a job that is a dream job that they have a passion for immediately. But that idea is like, go get your dream job, go do what you love. But a lot of times you can learn to come to love and have a passion for anything you do. It's as long as you have a purpose, you can love anything.
That's been a big thing for me. So I'll share like a little story within this. So I started the company in 2021. I had 4 staff members. I had 8 subcontractors working under me, and like we did 7 figures in the first 12 months. It's like pretty unheard of in the industry, right? I went from like here to here, and then that was like too much for me. It wasn't too much. It was just an insane level of growth, right? Within 12 months. And it burned me out. I learned a lot of lessons around what I shouldn't do. And I learned a lot about what works. So fuck yeah, right? In hindsight, now it's great. In the moment, not so great, right? Anyway, I got to the point where I was like, look, lads, I was obviously, shout out Tom Clark, the guy that mentioned me to you. did the work. Like I did my event at the start of when I started my company, and I realized that I wanted to be a coach and help others. That pretty much the day I started my company. So I was like working through this while trying to start my other business as well. So it was just like, it was so much, man. Anyway, like you were talking about meaning and finding purpose in anything that you do. I packed up shop, right? I fucked up big time with the sale of the business, and like I was going to sell it, but I got rid of all my stuff, and I just made a huge fucking financial mistake. But for me, it was like what I needed to do at that time. Anyway, so I took 6 months off and focused on what I was super passionate about. And then I was really enjoying that, but also a business doesn't take 6 months to take off. Not enough time, especially when you're like fresh to the industry.
Yeah.
So I had to start working again. And then it's like, okay, how am I going to enjoy this now? How am I going to look at my job as something that I can find meaningful and I can find purpose in it? And that's when you just have to be clear on why you're fucking doing the thing. You have to be like, I'm doing this to fuel my other business. I'm doing this so I can put the best fucking food in my body. I'm doing this so I can grow and level up and work with coaches and do all this sort of thing to provide and have a good fucking life. Right. Like you talked about it before we started, like lifestyle, health, relationships.
Yeah.
How can I help those things nourish? Because if those things are like flourishing, I can just work becomes easy.
Yeah.
Business becomes easy. Of course, the challenges within it. But when you're working, like this is like this, like pretty much one of my slogans within my events is, what are you doing outside of your business to grow your business?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's like your business, it's like, it's easy. It's everything outside of it that you're doing that creates the challenge. So yeah, it's just like, I've been able to come back now and find meaning in the job again, which has been fantastic.
Yeah.
But like you said it so well, man, it's like whatever you decide to do, you can find purpose and meaning in it. It's just how you perceive these things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you see it a lot with, I mean, most people I've talked to don't grow up thinking they're going to do what they're doing. And a lot of the people that are actually successful found some sort of purpose for why they're doing it. Whether that's, to fuel the lifestyle that you want, whether it's because you want to take trips and do all this other stuff, you're working for that. You're working to provide for your family and have a nice home and nice things for your family and good experiences, or whatever it is, you find purpose outside of work for what you do at work. And because that's just how, we need to work to do things, to be able to have money to do things. And that's just how it goes. So why show up every day miserable at what you're doing if all it's taking, that's how you're paying for everything that you do.
Yeah. But then like you can look at it and be like, I fucking hate this so much.
Yeah.
Then do something about it.
Yeah.
Don't just like sit there in the same fucking job and sit there in victim mentality and do nothing about it. Actually get off your ass and do something about it. Because there's so many opportunities. It's like, stop being a little bit of a soft cock and just fucking do what needs to be done. Because honestly, like there's a part of me that's like, shut the fuck up. I'm sick of you injured.
Yeah, well, exactly. Quit showing up to work every day saying you hate your job and then going home and pounding beers and stuff. What are you doing outside of it to make sure? If you make a lot of money but you hate what you do, what are you doing to get away from that? Because at some point, if you're living based off of what you make and you hate what you do, you almost like become trapped in what you do. Until you find purpose and try to get out of it. You know what I mean?
It's like, it's so stupid because all it is what we think we need. Like we think we need this money. We think we need it to survive. And it's like, motherfucker, there's people out there living off 20 grand a year. It's like, don't tell me that you can't challenge yourself and go live, like cut down your expenses by a fuckload and live an easy, like not, you're choosing to stay in this position. This is 100% your fucking choice. You earn enough money. You've earned enough money for an extended period of time to be able to take 3 months off. But you choose not to, or you keep spending your money on the booze and the drugs and the holidays.
It turns into, well, if I take 3 months off, then what happens when I come back? Like, what happens when I come back to work? Will I still be able to find work? Like, that's story that people
Yeah.
tell themselves,
Yeah.
you know?
Oh no, you lost the job that you fucking hate. Oh, it's the end of the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially, I mean, it's that idea and these stories and that's a theme that I've come across a lot lately is stories that we're telling ourselves about what we're doing. Like,
Mm,
oh yeah, I need this beer because I have a lot of stress at work and it helps me decompress,
mm.
or I have a lot of
No, it doesn't.
anxiety,
No,
and
fuck.
or like, oh, I hate this job, but I need to keep it because I make a lot of money, or like all these little stories that you tell yourself because of maybe your surroundings, maybe through school, people that you grew up with, like whatever it is, your upbringing, you create these stories and they're
Mm,
propagated, and until you become conscious and look at what it is that's going on, it's really hard to break out of that
mm.
thought process.
Yeah. Yeah, with the fullest empathy for these people, right? Like I'm a straight shooter, I'm a savage, like I'll just tell it how it is. But like I get it, man. Like there's a lot of shit going on that's stopping you from doing these things.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, it's like you can hire all the personal development coaches in the world, which will definitely help. But if you don't want to do that, all it really takes is for you to sit with your own thoughts for a bit, do a bit of meditating on a day-to-day basis, journal out what's not going right, and then decide what you want to fucking do with that. Instead of numbing it down with like your dopamine fixes, constantly looking at TV, constantly looking at phones, like not having any fucking time for yourself. It's like this distraction world is actually what's keeping you in this place. And it's just like, brother, just have a second to yourself. Ask yourself what you really fucking want. And if that's what you want, sick. But if it's not, start looking at alternative options. Like you can't, oh, you can't tell me there's not any possibility that you can change. In like today's society is like so easy to do things. Like everything is at the tip of our fucking fingers. We're the most entitled we've ever been in Western society. I know it's here, like probably similar in America. Just like we are so fucking entitled that it's just like, oh, just like the materialistic things. But it's just fuck, man. It's just crazy. Like if you want to
Yeah.
change, you can fucking change.
Yeah.
That's the end of story.
Yeah. There's information, endless information out there. And I mean, it comes down to fitness, health and fitness. I mean, you talk to somebody that's out of shape and tell them how easy really it is to get back and to get into shape and to be healthy and be fit. And I mean, it's like what got them, the habits that got them there are so ingrained in them that they don't want to break them.
Mm.
And they think it's like this insurmountable task because there's so much information out there, or they don't know where to start. But all it takes is getting after it,
Mm.
making a step, making a move.
Yeah. 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 But this is like a thought process I had. It's like, that's not enough because I've fallen into the trap, right? I've become aware of this recently. This is a pattern that I've run and I'm starting to break it, but I would do something
Uh-huh.
to make me feel like I've done enough.
Yeah.
Right. So I'd be like, my standards are very high for myself. Right. So like I've been improving at the gym a lot and I'm like, I was training by myself and eating like really, like I eat really well. I look after myself. I was going to the gym and I was like training. I'm like, I'm not seeing any fucking gains. It's been like 4, 5, 6 months. And I'm like, I'm just not seeing any gains. And then I'm like, fuck this. I'm going to join a group gym, which is just down the road. And it's like very tailored and it's very specific. Right. Anyway, I'm like in there and I'm fucking working harder than I've ever trained in my life. And I'm like, oh, I haven't been training hard enough.
Yeah.
Is like the reason. Cause it's like people be like, yeah, I'm going to get started. And they get started and they're like, yeah, but I'm doing it. It's like, yeah, but you're not fucking doing enough.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
think by doing one little thing, and it's like, it's great to do that to start, but people fall into this trap of like, hey, this is like, I'm doing it. It's like, nah, man, like you're not. Like you're doing something which is fantastic, but like standards have just become so low these days. And it's like, even with business, like, starting a coaching business, like I do like 20 minutes, like I do an hour of work, but that hour was full of distractions. But I'd fool myself into believing that I'd done an hour of work. So I'd done enough that day. And it's like, nah, man, like you really haven't. And then this is the sort of caliber that I want to attract now, the people that I want to work with, because they're the people that are going to actually make change. Are the guys that are going to just fully immerse themselves in their fear, fully stretch the absolute fuck out of themselves and do something about their life. Because a lot of guys don't want to do that. And that's okay. But it's like, who are the straight shooters that are just going to be like, I'm going to fucking, like, I'm 110% in, bro. Like, let's fucking do this.
Yeah.
And that's where the change will be made.
Yeah. Well, everybody makes those little steps and does one little thing because they do want to feel like they're accomplishing something. And like that way, when it doesn't work, they can be like, well, I did it, well, so I did it. So it just doesn't work for me. It's not possible.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I went for a walk today. Oh, cool. You're going to lose 50 kegs? Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure, bro. All right.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I walk every day and I'm not losing weight. I eat
But I
good.
eat Macca's fucking every day for like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't overeat except for I eat this and that and,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever it is. I don't overeat. I watch what I eat. But why I lose weight. That's just, I mean, I gain weight. That's just how I am.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hear that a lot,
Yeah. But it's just like, it's how soft we've come, yeah? Like, you're in a group called fucking Lions Den, right? I'm sure it's full of savages in there, right? But man, the shit that we used to have to go through, like our ancestors had to go through, like they would mock the absolute fucking shit out of us. We are so fucking weak, bro. They would laugh at us like, what the fuck? Oh, you can't run the business? Oh, that's so difficult. Motherfucker, I couldn't eat for 5 days because I was hunting food.
Yeah. Well, that's a point I make to people a lot because I'll tell people what I do for work and that I like working out and I have for a long time and be like, oh, well, that's hard. That's hard on your body. Like you're just gonna break yourself down. You're gonna break your body down. And I'm like, what? People like all through history we have been like, it's no more than anybody else has had done ever. Like, not there's never been a time where people just go sit on the couch and do nothing all day. You know what I mean? Until like the last, however many years it's been. People sitting on a couch in front of a TV or sitting at a desk at a cubicle like that. That hasn't been a thing. People used to move constantly and work and do all sorts of things. And somehow having a manual job and then going and working out is like gonna kill you. It is this like soft mindset where like, oh, you can't do too much. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to hurt your back. You're going to do this. You're going to do that.
Who's going to carry the boats, bro?
Who's going to carry the boats? Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not even saying be like Goggins, like, cause he's crazy and he's just always that intense, but like, you got to have some level of that because this sitting at a desk all day or like even working in a trade job and then going home and sitting on the couch, like that's terrible. And you can do that and get away with it as long as you're still taking care of yourself. Because if you're not, and like say you're making those gas station trips and you're eating garbage and drinking a million energy drinks and not drinking enough water and like doing all this stuff, and then you go home and sit on the couch and don't do anything, it's like all you're doing is breaking yourself down and harming your health.
We are just a mirror for these guys, man. The guys that aren't training, the guys that aren't putting the effort in to looking after themselves, they know that they're going to break down at some point, right? You're choosing your hard now. Their hard's going to come fucking later. And that's just a straight fact. So it's like, and like when you were talking about office workers, I was like, if you're not training and you're like, how the fuck are you not training if you're an office worker? Like I'm active all day. And sometimes the last thing I feel like doing is going to the gym. But it's like, if you're sitting on your ass all fucking day and you can't get to the gym, my God.
Now it's bad. And that's contributing to the large health problem we have. And I can't go to the grocery store here without without running into someone that is 300 pounds or like, the same height as me and weighs 300 pounds of, overweight. And it's like, how do you get by like that? That's so crazy,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Luke, you have anything you'd like to add? It's been an awesome conversation.
Yeah, it has. It's been good, man. It's been lovely to have a chat and meet you.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I want to? I mean, just all it really comes down to is effort. Hey, all it is effort. Is like what sort of individual do you want to be this day? Right? There's a whole day of it ahead of you. How can you be the best version of yourself today? How can you be the industry standard today? Look at it from like a point of, a great metaphor. It's just like, how can you be the industry standard? What are your standards today? How are you going to commit to that? How are you going to be the best person or the best tradie today? And if you can just focus on your day to day, stop thinking so much about the future. It's good to have goals. It's good to have a purpose and a vision for the future. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is like right now in this moment and today. Stop focusing on how you've got to lose 50 kilos. Focus on like what you can do today. If you've got to build a business, like just focus on today. Like what do you need to do today? And those things will just eventually build into something, and then you will turn into the individual that you want to become.
Yeah.
But on the topic of this conversation, just like stop being such a soft cock and do something about it.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. Stop focusing on every other thing other than what you're doing,
Yeah.
But get rid of the distractions. Quit with the mindless social media scrolling and the news crap, and focus on the moment. So focus on what you
100%.
can be doing to be better now,
Yeah.
no matter what it is you do, especially in a trade. Like one thing I like to say is like try to learn something new. I mean, if you're working for somebody, you're in an awesome position to do whatever you want to do, and they're getting paid to learn, and you're learning on someone else's dime when you make mistakes. Try, put in all of your effort to try to learn something new every day and get better and increase your skills. Focus on today, not like, oh man, well, I need to be like here, down the road. Like I don't know how to get there. Focus on today and try to be better. And that's what gets you there.
Yeah. And then cause sometimes you feel like, fuck, I'm not making any progress. And even like the last 12 months. And then it sort of just like clicks one day, like, oh fuck, okay. Nah, like things are happening, It's just like keep going, keep working. When nobody's watching, keep working. I love that saying. It's like when nobody's working, just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, where can people go to find you and find more about what you do?
Yeah, so the Conscious Tradie is my Instagram handle. It's also my YouTube handle. Doing weekly vlogs, which is cool. That's just been a recent thing.
Nice.
And then I've got a website and a landing page. I'll be launching my offer by Tuesday, so that's very exciting. But yeah, man, I'm sure there'll be some links below or whatever, and just follow me there and have a chat. So
awesome. Well, Luke, thanks for coming on, and I really enjoyed our conversation.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for having me. It's been great.
Yep.